and we'll get started. Screen 2. Okay. Can you all see just the presentation? See anything extra? Cool. Thanks. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Workday Digital Assist Open House. Today, we're just going to talk a little bit about Digital Assist. It's also, people will also call this Walk Me, so it's one and the same thing. I'll talk a little bit about that. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Alex Jeter. I'm a Workday training specialist here in UVA-HR. And I've been building on the WDA project since early last year. And I think many of you on the call have seen this before. So I won't, I'm just going to try to get through it so we can get to the questions and any ideas y'all might have. Okay. So yeah, excited to be here, talk about WDA, talking a little bit about some of the changes coming in 2022 and some of the changes that we've seen and been experiencing here this past year. We're going to talk about what the tool is, why we're using it, and how job aids are transforming into WDA content currently, how they'll continue to do that. And then we're going to take a quick look at I'm going to demo some of our content, and then we'll leave some time at the end to talk about any questions or ideas y'all might have. That's really what I'm particularly interested in, is hearing how you all think we might leverage this within Workday more than we currently are. Okay, so what is it? Very simply put, WDA is an overlay. In this, we're just overlaying on top of a website. Of course, in this case, we're talking about Workday. So what we're overlaying content that provides guidance for the user during a process while they're going through a business process or just navigating the system. We provide different types of content. We'll talk a little bit about some of those. In this animation, you're seeing a variety of our content, primarily smart walkthroughs, which we'll look at today. And so we make this content available directly in Workday through this Need Help menu. It's this little feature sitting at the top right corner of the Workday toolbar. And that's where all of our content exists. And again, you will probably hear folks call this Walk Me. It's important to understand that Walk Me and Workday Digital Assist are one and the same thing. Walk Me is the vendor that powers WDA, and it is a digital adoption platform. And I won't go into details about what digital adoption is, but it's really important, and I encourage everyone to look into it. And just know that with WDA, it's helping us ensure that we're able to provide that unique personalized guidance to our end users and partners out in the field. And I'll just mention that the Finance Strategic Transformation Project is going to be leveraging WDA. So we're going to see this tool going forward in our organization as well. But why? You might still be asking yourself, why? Let's take a moment and think about President Ryan's strategic plan. And we believe that WDA ties in with President Ryan's plan to strengthen our foundation, enabling users of Workday to do their best work by providing high quality technological tools to guide them in operating efficiently and effectively while transacting and navigating in our system. And while Jim's plan is both great and good, we also have our own foundations and principles to think about. And so, probably most noticeably is this idea of innovative practice. So with WDA, we're really transforming our training approach for Workday into this innovative, at the point of need, personalized in-system guidance. But that isn't really where we stop with the tool. We also are very people-focused. We're able to segment our content, which basically just means that we're able to deliver content to users that is relevant for them. So that is like, as an employee, I don't have managerial tasks like Christian Deck might. I can't do that stuff. So that's not important to me at that moment in time until, of course, I become a manager or something like that, and then it's relative. But as an employee, I don't need to know about those items. So we can deliver content that just is for me as an employee or a manager, or we also have some security roles built in there. And then, of course, when our entities have some big drastic differences, which I know never happens, we can also be clever with how we use this tool to differentiate those important differences. And last but not least, exceptional execution. The ability that our smart walkthroughs and content in general has to ensure that these users are making the right decisions at that point of entry helps just ensure that everybody's using Workday as best as possible. So WDA is giving us the ability to not only fit in with the UVA strategic plan, but also to help us work towards our own strategic goals and principles. But still, you might be wondering why. Well, just really simply put, it simplifies the user's experience in Workday. It's providing really contextual, personalized guidance so that the users don't have to worry about if they're looking at something that's relevant for them or not. All they have to really know is a little bit about what they're trying to do in Workday. If they know that, the rest of our content can kind of help them get to the right stuff. And of course, in our desire to be technologically advanced, it's helping us do that. It's helping us live towards UVA's strategic principles and goals, and as well as our own here in HR. Really just all this to say, we're really evolving as an HR organization, as many organizations out in the world are after the pandemic. And we're really looking at our technologies and transitioning to a digital platform. And so with this, we're just going to transform some of our training opportunities into some digital content as well. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly talk about how we got here. I think this is helpful for maybe for those that weren't here when we went live with Workday. So if you were here, or even if you weren't, Workday in general, we believed it was going to be this really intuitive, easy to use system. And it just turned out not to be the case. You know, people struggled with using Workday. They still struggle with using Workday, not quite as intuitive as we had hoped. So starting back in 2019, UVA HR actually embarked on a journey with WalkMe to increase our digital adoption footprint and to boost the usability of the Workday platform. So entered a partnership with WalkMe, bringing the WDA tool to the community. And starting in the beginning of 2020, we started building. And in June of 2020, we actually implemented a pilot program. So if you were here in HR at that time, you were part of that program. And that just kind of went out with some of our initial starting points for builds. And I'll talk about those in just a second. And to date, we have actually rolled out and implemented WDA in 15 areas. I'm not going to name them all, but things like arts and sciences, UVA health system, and the provost office, with, of course, more to come. And so what are we using it for? We started out with 9 complex business processes. If you're familiar with Workday, none of those are going to be a surprise. Things like creating job requisitions, change job, of course, compensation changes, period activity pay, all those things that are sort of pain points for our partners. But also we have self-service things, because not everybody's a manager. And there's things that everyday people like me and some other people here on the call, I'm sure, still need some help with in Workday. So we have some of those as well. Most noticeably are some of our benefits content and processes that we now have in there, which we had available for open enrollment. So I'll talk about that in just a minute so we can see how people use this tool. And just quickly throw some numbers out there. As of early this month, last month, we had about 15,000 users who WDA is available to. Over the course of 30 days, we typically see about 10,000 of those users interact with the tool. And I know this is a shock. Not everybody that works at UVA logs into Workday every single day. It's crazy. I know. I think the same thing. Why wouldn't they want to log into Workday? But point being, and we'll look at this again in just a second, actually, on the next slide, how folks are engaging with the tool. So some tasteful statistics. This is a really sad slide. I'm sorry. But here are just a couple real comments we've received on the tool, just a few. But we've received this middle one a whole lot. This love not going outside of Workday for help. That's a very common piece of feedback we're receiving. People do really like not having to go somewhere else to get things. So instead of going to Box, we have all of our content right there. So they don't have to try to dig through some folders somewhere else. We bring all that to them. And I've thrown a little table here with some interactions specific to the open enrollment timeframe. So some of these numbers, you don't have to look really closely there. It's probably really small. Basically, what I'm getting at is during that time frame, we had about just under 9,000 WDA users use Workday in that time period. And of the 9,000, just under 8,000 of them actually engaged with open enrollment content, which is just about a 90% engagement rate, 88.4. So what am I trying to say? Basically, what we're seeing is people that have WDA use WDA when they log into Workday. That's kind of all I got right now. But we're looking into additional ways to try to dig in deeper and see more about how they're using the system. So just real quick, WDA is no sort of like requirement. You don't have to use it. It is not necessary to log into Workday or to use Workday. It's totally passive. It's just sitting there in the system. It's available. I can interact with it if I want, but it's not like limiting me or prohibiting me from doing anything. So a lot of times people ask that, and so we like to clarify this. No requirements, nothing that's stopping users from still doing whatever they want in Workday. Okay, so let's switch over. Hopefully I've set up my screens in a way that makes this pretty seamless. Do we see Workday? Yes, nice. Okay. All right. I'm going to start as myself because I think this is kind of interesting to see how we segment. Here we are on the homepage. These are my WDA or Workday Digital Assist features. I've got this provide feedback button, and then I've got this need help button over off to the right. So this is where we have all of our content. So basically our hub for all of the things that we've developed. So when I click on this, I'm seeing just that. As a user, I'm seeing all this content that's available for me to use if I so wish or desire. I can search. I can say I'm looking to take some leave. I can do that. Or I can just dig around through these folders and explore. Maybe I want to, a Workday tour. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Or maybe I want to familiarize myself with this digital assist tool or access some documents. So by and large, within this menu, we have walkthroughs, which we'll see here in just a second. But we also have, we can have different types of resources like documents and videos. And so if I engage with some of these, you'll see that it still keeps me right here in Workday. So I can absorb this information, and then I can say, okay, I'm ready to do whatever I'm here to do. And then we also have some videos in here as well. And we can also link to websites. For example, we have our employee job aid page, access denied, so rude. And so we can shortcut folks to websites as well, or different sources like that. It's like, oh, so cool. Okay. So, but what I really wanted to point out is, and it's going to be a very minimal difference to notice, but this is my menu. Let me now pop over to Sandbox, where I'm pretending to be a manager. And so when I click on this menu here, not much seeming to be different. But there's one big difference, and this is my team folder. Managers also in Workday have the my team applications. We're trying to kind of be consistent with what Workday's calling this. And if I explore this is where as a manager, I have all of my guides helping me with recruiting, hiring, specifically student hiring, change job, compensation, Workday learning, performance, ending employment. I've got a whole slew of options in here for me to engage with. So today, let's look at, typically I like to show absence, but absence is such a very slow area that I don't want to show that today. We're going to instead take a peek at benefits. Why not? That's fun. So when I engage with content in the WDA menu, a lot of times we're going to face or pose our users with what we call a mini menu. You don't have to remember it's called a mini menu. All you have to notice or understand is this is just trying to help users get to the right space. So in benefits, with benefit changes, maybe I'm here to do a qualified life event. I just had a kid. Maybe I'm here just to do an anytime change. I want to up my HSA contributions. I can do those things. It depends, how I interact with Workday really depends on what I'm trying to do. So this is just a stop to try to help the user get to the right guidance. Let's say I want to do a qualified life event. Those are really important, and people have to do those unexpectedly often. And then they're forced to come into Workday, and that's, yeah. Anyways, so when I click on this, the next thing I'm faced is much like our job aids have a before you begin section. This is trying to let me know what I need to know about this thing before I get started. And of course, with qualified life events, one of the most important things for me to note is the required documentation. So I have to put something in here for my qualified life event to be approved. And so we can link up resources. The benefits folks have this great resource for qualified life events for the academic division. They got another one for UPG. And so we can provide that resource really quickly to the person so they can say, oh, I got married. Okay, I need a copy of my state issued marriage certificate. Perfect. And so now they know exactly what they need to load in. Let's say I have all that and I'm ready to get started. I click start. This is another benefit of the WDA tool. Instead of telling me, okay, go to your benefits application, go to change benefits, Now, and it kind of just takes me there. I've already said I want to do this task. So Workday Digital Assistant is just going to take me to it now. And the guidance here, this is my walkthrough that I had started at the beginning of this, and it's followed me along, telling me a little bit about this page. I'm actually going to end this. This is what the page would look like if I had just come here on my own accord, and I'm an exploratory user. I just found this page by luck. Of course, I've got my instructional text that the Workday team provides here on the right, really important for me to read. But I also get some other WDA features here. This little question mark is what we call a smart tip. Smart tips are really just contextual guidance. We associate them with different elements in Workday. So in this case, it's associated with this drop down that is a change reason from benefits. And it's just trying to help me understand what this thing means to me. If I'm here doing a qualified life event, I'm going to choose one of these reasons. If I'm here doing an anytime change, I'm going to choose one of these reasons. So, this is more intuitive than some of the other prompts in Workday, but still, I can kind of quickly get some advice about how to interact with this prompt. My need help menu, still here, always going to be here, just like the Workday toolbar. So I can always access this, find the benefits. Gosh, computer, come on. Find this benefits process, and you'll notice that it just met me right where I was. It didn't start me over. It's saying, oh, you're here on this page. Here's how you do this page. The other feature that's on this page is this show me how button. And so really what this does is just think of it like a shortcut. Show me how buttons shortcut to relevant content for this page. So when I click this, it's going to ask me just that change benefits question again. It's like, what are you here to do? Oh, I'm here to do a qualified life event. And now I've got my guidance back up on my right. So show me how buttons are another feature that we use heavily, and users love to click these. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it says show me how. Maybe it's because the little feet on it. I'm not sure. But they love to click these. So we like to plant these around so people can still get connected to help when they need it. I am not going to go all the way through this process. Ooh, but I do want to show you one really cool thing that Sue Simpkins thought of for this area. And you're just going to have to trust me a little bit on this. Workday doesn't do a great job of stopping folks in their tracks here in this application when I don't include an attachment, which we know is required. Just trust. If I were to click this and I didn't have WDA, Workday would throw this little pop-up that actually is typically shown when I've completed a process or successfully submitted something. So it's a little misleading, even as to a frequent user of Workday, exactly that I made a mistake. So you're not gonna be able to see that. I'm just gonna show you the solution we have in place here. So I've picked this change benefits reason that requires an attachment. Workday knows that, and so does WalkMe in this case, or WDA, but I'm not gonna put anything in here. And you'll see also, this is a WDA feature that's highlighting this box. It's really trying to draw my attention to it. And I'm just gonna say, nah. And you'll see, we got another sneak in there. There's a little tooltip that's appearing. It's really hard to see just by submit it saying attachment is required before you can submit. So I might catch that, but let's say I didn't, and I just click submit. This is WDA just trying to help me out and saying, hey man, you picked a reason that requires an attachment. You gotta attach something. Oh, here's the resource sheet in case you forgot what to attach. And I'm a great employee, and I say, oh, okay, I forgot. Let me put in, oh no, where's my garbage document? Let's just pick a random one. Let's pick a picture. Here we go. I don't know what that, oh, shark teeth, cool. How embarrassing. All right, let's keep going. So now that I've put all these things in and I've got my attachment, and that's totally my child's birth certificate, by the way, I click submit. And now WDA is just following me along still and saying, okay, cool. Up next, you're actually going to work on your changes. Click this little open button. And just to point out, this is the same pop-up I was talking about. The only difference is, since I made a mistake, Workday would say revise instead of open. This is just so confusing to me, and I use Workday all the time. So anyways, I think this was a great solution, and it seems to have been really helping folks with their qualified life events. And so I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you'll see that the walkthrough is just helping me along, telling me what I need to do, and specifically on this page, how to interact with the benefits tiles interface, highlighting the fact that things that say manager and role, I can mess with, view, I can just look at. And as I kind of interact with these things, I shouldn't do this. this is Christina Morales. This is not someone we know. Safe place, everybody. Safe place. It's just helping me along. It's like, oh, do you want to add dependents or change your contributions to a retirement plan? You click this confirm and continue button. So, and it's dynamic is the last thing I'll say. So if I click cancel there, it takes a second, but it follows me back a step. So it kind of lets me navigate through processes the way I want to. So, that's a lot of talking. I'm going to stop there. What sort of questions do y'all have? Or ideas, things that you think, areas you think in Workday, or, even if it's not in Workday, ways that we can use this tool to improve, well, Workday primarily, that's going to be the easiest thing, but any sort of outside ideas we can also write down and think about going forward. I can play another walkthrough too if y'all want.
I raised my hand. I didn't know.
Oh, there's somebody raising their hand. Okay.
I didn't want to be rude. So this is awesome. Shame on me. I have not taken even this much of a dive into it. I've looked at it a little bit here and there, but this is really cool. So what we need to do, I think, is promote the heck out of this on the front end too. So how can we do that? Is there other than maybe training some of our agents to say or respond to emails in particular? We get a lot of emails about, hey, I just had a baby, how do I add my child? And so is there something we can send them or kind of to get them to engage a little bit in terms of actually using the tool? We'd love to help promote that, because obviously that means less volume for us in the future. Hopefully people can just go in and easily walk through the system and do what they want to do.
And that's definitely one of our goals as well, is to reduce these sorts of calls. So it's a great question. And in general, I believe what we do currently provide is a list of, I believe Angela provides a list of people that do have the tool, because right now not everybody has it. And so we only have, so many folks that do have it. And so that would be that, that's a little bit of a challenge, because you'd have to look at a list and be like, am I talking to somebody that has this tool? And so there's some complications with that. But what I will say is, for inquiry in particular, I think it's an interesting opportunity to have some structured guidance as a conversation piece. Like if someone's saying, hey, I want to add a new child to my benefit plan, inquiry could use this tool to help them talk that person through it, even if that person doesn't have the tool. But ultimately, you're right. We want to make sure that we're promoting this in the way that folks just find the help first. And so, yes, I see James asked about like UVHR website homepage. We are working on a WDA webpage that will help users find opportunity with the tool and it's a little complicated also, and not to go in the weeds with this, but this tool is made available through a web extension. And so in order to get that extension out to folks, we rely on ITS. And as we know, with most things at UVA, pretty much every group has their own ITS group. And so how we go about getting this out really depends on how the IT group helping us or supporting us manages it. And how they manage their endpoints. So we're working through a lot of this, hoping to have some good solutions in place. ITS has mentioned getting a link to WDA on their software gateway, so that we could ultimately, inquiry could say, hey, do you have WDA? And they say, no, I don't. He's like, oh, go here to the software gateway and pick it up. And then they could download it, and that could be one way to promote it. So we're working through a lot of that, and the provisioning is a big thing, because then the next question that to me to mention is also, well, how do new hires get it? How are we getting new hires when their onboarding process? So great question, Christian. And I think we still have some work to do in terms of making sure inquiry is outfitted to really handle those, who has the tool already and how to help folks that don't have it get it.
Admittedly, we do have a list of people who currently have it, and Angela keeps us updated. So certainly we could, in the meantime, we could cross-reference that list. And that would be just more me like reminding the team to look at the list for someone who's trying to make a change in Workday. And in addition, I think it's more effective to be able to probably, respond via email. Although we just haven't, I know we haven't really pointed people over the phone because if they're on the phone, it's almost like, okay,
Yeah.
the expectation is that we help them, we walk them through the process, right? But there are some processes for managers and things like that we don't currently support or we don't do very well because we don't know ourselves, like a job change or terminations, things like that. Although that's an easy one. So it's sort of like, it would be nice to be able to expand our service to be able to support that if it's not like direct, hey, I'm talking to you, Alex, and this is how you go step by step to do a job change. But being able to use the Walk Me tool to be able to do that with them on the phone will be helpful. I think it just requires training on our side too.
Yeah, and we definitely, we want to partner with everybody, and
I know it's hard. It's like time is so limited. I know.
And I understand. Of course, I understand how much information gets sent to inquiry and how it can be to stop and look at a list and find out if somebody has it or not is some time that maybe you don't have. So,
is there a plan to get it? I assume there is, out to everybody at some point, or is that? It sounds like it's a long road.
That'd be ideal. There is a cost associated with the licenses we have and how many people can access the tool. So we're trying to be a little strategic about who we get it to.
I see.
So groups like student workers have probably not going to get this tool,
right?
Because they're so fleeting. They come and they go, and they have a million positions, and they, by and large, what they need help with is entering time, I think. And so ultimately, we'd love to get this to everybody. Right now, we're just getting it out primarily to regular employees. There's about 19,000 of them at EVA, or give or take. And so we're about 18,000, or close to 18,000 at this point. So we're almost out to all regular employees.
Oh, good. Okay. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Captain. Let's see. I think I see Shelly has her hand raised, and I see some, let's see. We can all have a tagline in our signature, Jane. Yes. We do have some signature items that we can share with everybody. The project team has them. I don't see why we can't share those out with other people if they're interested. So I'll take that back as well to see if that's something that we can do. Why not? Shelly, what you got? Oh, Shelly wondered if inquiry can proxy.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. And that's how we're helping now. Yeah.
And I think that's a quick way to find out if somebody has Walk Me on.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you, Shelly.
And then the other thing is just to ask them, do you have the Help Me button? Because it does stand out quite a bit. Like maybe even emailing, do you have this button? It will walk you through it, and maybe a screenshot of the button and then how to get to the walkthrough.
That's really good.
I have a lot of template emails, or not so much now because we're doing different work, but I always had like 15 to 20 template emails that I would just shoot out to employees when we were in the old LMS of some basic screenshots of how to do specific things. The front end, a little bit of extra work, the back end, a whole lot easier. Plus, you look genius because you could shoot that out so fast to them.
Right, instead of having to build it, yeah. I've done that where I had someone who was really struggling, and I literally took screenshot after screenshot, step by step. It takes time, but I think that's really helpful. I think also we have a fair amount of nurses and doctors that call and they want to do something in the system, and they don't have time to sit there on the phone and discuss it with us for 20 minutes. And this would be a great tool to say, hey, okay, when you have time, check out this tool. And being able to sort of point them in the right direction that way, I think that'll be helpful too. And they can do it on their own time and not get stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably going to make them happier anyway, just to not have to call somebody or not have to get the help. And real quick before we leave, I want to, the future, we can link to WalkMe and Workday. So I've just plugged a link in here that I didn't test this before. So we're going to see how this goes. If I hit it, it's, oh, come on. How embarrassing. Yeah, we have these things called permalinks is what I was trying to showcase, and I should have prepared that a little bit better. But ultimately what those will do, just like clicking on any sort of web link, it could take them into Workday and start the walkthrough that we have with that link. So that will be one of the future states that we can get to as well, to where inquiry could say, hey, click this link, it'll take you to Workday and start some guidance. If you have any questions, let me know, sort of
That would
thing.
be awesome. Yep.
That is somewhere we will, we have those links, so we'll be able to use those with whatever sort of website where we're advertising this, or if we put it on our own training webpage. Right, I see Lori has a question.
I do. I have two questions, if I could indulge. The first one I think is going to be easy for you. As an HR employee, if I don't have the need help button, what steps do I need to take to get it?
That's it. That's the step right there. Just tell me. And,
okay.
And I'll get you set up.
Okay, great.
Simple. It is in the software center. So you could pop into there and grab it if you want to. I can also just send you a link and you can just get it downloaded really quickly.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the software center. So how about I'll reach out if I need help?
Yeah, if that doesn't work, let me know for sure.
Great.
On Teams or whatever.
And that might be because I'm on a loaner laptop. So
yes.
It's not installed. So the second question might be a little harder. So the second question is for people like me, for example. Now I can proxy, so maybe that's not the best example, but for people who are business administrators in the academic departments, many of our schools have a pretty robust delegate system. So instead of a manager answering questions to their own employees and doing a lot of the manager responsibility, there are delegates who do that. So instead of that my team portion being invisible, which you might have spent some extra work so that everybody didn't have to see the my team, it would be helpful if we could see everything that's available in the digital assist, whether we're a manager or not. So they have a need for seeing the hiring guide. They have a need for advising on processes that they themselves don't do, like maintain worker documents is something they are, always advising on, even though it's not their own supervisee. So are there any plans for helping those delegates?
That's a great question. Delegates are covered. So delegates ultimately receive, when they switch to their delegate account, I should say, that's the important piece. When they switch to their delegate account, they have access to all the manager stuff that is available to delegates. And I think there's like a couple that are not, right? Job applications. There's some stuff in job applications that delegates can't touch. But point being, to your question, when they switch to their delegate account, their help menu adjusts to incorporate those additional duties. That's
fantastic. I wish we had a little fireworks feature. Thank you.
I saw it. Yes, great question. What else y'all thinking? Where else should we use this? How can we improve more people's, how can we help HR more?
So Alex, I'm still focused on Christian and his questions. I was thinking, would it be helpful, Christian, for you to have a shorter condensed list of who Workday Assist has been rolled out to, so that when you ask people, do you have Workday Assist, you'll know that they should have it and that they can download it or contact their LSP. I mean, your folks can help them through what they need, but then they can also say, hey, we've got this thing that walks you through this. If you need to do something and it's a feature, your LSP can download that for you. And that would also help us with getting it out there for the LSPs that haven't been able to partner with Alex as deeply as we would hope.
Right. So we do have a list that's updated. I think it's Angela that sends us sends me the update, and I posted it onto our team site. And I could see potentially us sort of, for people who don't have it and need to download it from the software center. usually when people contact us, and I'm not saying that we couldn't try it, but a lot of people are like, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to download something from the software center. I don't even know
Oh,
how to
no,
do
and I
that.
get that part. Yeah.
Yeah. But to your point, yeah, I think we do have the list. I think what we could probably use is, and I don't mean to take up the whole meeting here, but for you all to maybe we can get together with the team and sort of walk through digital assist and kind of go through, okay, here are the best ways we can use the program to help people when they call, and also when they email, and having a link, Alex, on the road that we could shoot out would be amazing. I know that's in the works, but ideas like that, because I don't think the team has adopted it, honestly, the way we need to. So I'm excited about it, because I think if we do and we sell it, sell it for lack of a better word, then that means, hopefully less calls, less emails, less traffic in general for us. So, which would be ideal.
Yes. Yeah, I've made it. I think we do have plans to get individually with inquiry, but I'll take that back as well. And yeah, we should definitely do that. That'd be fun too. Jane has her hand up.
So one question that I had on just sending people to their LSPs is that, we have these new hires from arts and sciences, and I'm going to send a list to Angela, because it was my understanding that the LSPs can't just segment out who to send it to. Like if they push it out, they sort of have to push it to everyone again versus just those specific individuals. And so that might potentially ruffle some feathers of ESPs or LSPs if they say, well, now I have to redo this concept. So I think we'd want to be really careful when we're pushing or sending things to LSPs or referring people to LSPs. That was just a sticky issue with us. And it sort of seems like the Workday team or the Workday Digital Assist team needs to sort of send to those individuals that are missing. Is that right?
It really depends on how the areas do it. Each deployment has been a little different. So just based on how LSPs work, like architecture, it varies. So, and that's one of our big questions is how do we get this tool out to new hires, to people that get new machines, just in general, the provisioning of the machine with this extension already equipped.
Because I don't think we want to just say, oh, contact your
LSP, right?
Because we sort of already have that a little bit with unpaid
right
faculty with getting or contingent workers, and it's back and forth. Oh, is this an ITS person or is this and now I just am hesitant to just say, oh, just refer them to their LSP. I just think that it could backfire a little bit.
I will take that back for sure for Angela to think about as well, first as the project team to think about. I know it's a big thing that we are thinking about, navigating that relationship with local support partners and IT and just getting this available. So I'll take that back and make sure that, we're addressing that as well.
We don't want to be in a situation where we're saying with the LSPs, because they're the local the departments, and they say, well, HR sent me to you.
Right. They said you got to help.
They get all worked up and it just escalates to a big hairy mess.
Let's not have any more hairy messes.
Yeah, thank you. We specialize in hairy messes.
It seems that way sometimes. Nice. All right. What other questions? Anybody else have other questions? See your email there, Lori. We'll